You want to get into using nail forms, but you're not quite sure where to start or what to do. So the first thing you are going to need when using forms are nail forms. Now, there are a couple different varieties of nail forms. As for nail forms, you have nail forms that are going to be small and the form is going to be on the thinner side. Then you have some nail forms that are going to be on the thicker side, and that way they don't have a lot of give to them. You also have basic nail forms, and these are from Sandy, that are just going to have one set of lines on here, and then you always have the numbers going down, and you have these little teeny tabs. Now, these tabs, you don't necessarily have to put on the back of the form. It just depends. If the form is on the thinner side, then I would put the tab on the back just for extra support. You also have forms like these from Light Elegance. I have these from Ugly Duckling over here. Then you get into nail forms like these, and these are from EnVogue. And you can see on here, besides all these different lines, you also have lines on the side over here. And Johann's has the same thing. You have lines on the side and lines here. Well, what do all these extra lines mean? Now, the ones on the sides here are going to be for your relief cuts. Then you have forms that have lines on this side over here. And that's when you have some clients that have an extended hyponychium. Then you know where to cut. Now, if forms don't have these lines, this tip I got from Katie Barnes, and you can just get a white jelly pen. This I got from Michael's, and that way I can just draw on the form where I need to make my cuts, where I need to tailor my nail form, or we need to cut the nail form if the client has an extended hyponychium. And on top of that, you're also going to need scissors. Now, when you start getting into more advanced shaping, then you're going to need something like this, and these are C-curve tools. Let's talk about the items real quick that you're going to need with your nail forms. The obvious, you're going to need nail forms. I also like to use a white jelly pen if I'm ever marking on the form where I need to trim it, and some sort of scissors. Now, most nail techs on the app, what I see them doing is they take the nail form off, and then sometimes they'll take the tab and pop it on the back, but these from EnVogue are thick enough I don't have to use that tab. Now, no offense, but I was corrected from this early on in my career, so I don't do this anymore. So the first correction is when you're putting on nail forms, you always want to make sure that this here with the forms aren't off center like this. You want to make sure they're lining up 100%. Now, also, you have two gaps in here. The first one is you have this gap from the free edge to the form. You should never have a gap right over here unless the client has an extended hyponychium. Then I'll show you how to take care of that. Your second is right over here, and this is your corner point. You always want to make sure the form is fitting snug right up to that corner point, so that way you never risk breaking this. So I'm going to take a white jelly pen, and I'm just going to mark this on the form so I know where I need to trim my form so my form can fit nice and snug. Now, once you cut that, you're going to have these little tabs on the side. You're going to remove those, and then we're going to pop the nail form on. Now, once the form is tailored with around the free edge and over here for your relief cuts, therefore, say if I'm doing a square nail and I want a tighter curve, if I close everything up on the bottom, now you can see this nail form fits nice and snug underneath the nail plate. You're going to get a really nice C-curve in here. And this, while it does look nice, the only problems, as I said, is your corner points are not meted up properly and you have gaps over here. So I hope that I have a nail form in front of me from EnVogue. So I'm going to take this off. Now, these nail forms from EnVogue are thick enough and sturdy, so I don't have to put the tab on the back of the form. But you can tell right away when you take a form off of the backing paper, if it's not sturdy enough, then that's when I would put the tab on. So now on to the tip. You always want to open the back of the forms, no matter what shape you're doing. So first off, we always want to line up the back and make sure that this is closed properly. Because if these aren't closed properly, then the shape is going to be off. I see a lot of techs on here when they put the nail forms on, they want to close this up 100%. You do and don't want to do this depending on the shape of the nail. So if you're sculpting out a square or a tapered square nail, we're going to pretend this is on correctly. I'm going to keep the front of this form open like this, so that way I can get a nice C curve like this or like this. So this is a square and this is a taper square that I'm wearing. You can see that I have a nice C curve. Now with this almond nail like this, you're going to want to close that form up just a little bit more, but you don't want it 100% closed. And as I said in my other tip videos about nail forms, if you want to get a tighter C curve, meaning this right here, just start closing the form up from the bottom going up. Now, if you're doing even like a ballerina, I would still keep it slightly open, or a coffin. If you're doing a stiletto, my recommendations is when you completely close up the nail form like this. That way, depending on what length you're going to, say if you're going to a number 4, I would keep that closed up right to here. So that way you have a 0% C curve when you get to the front of the form. This is what my nail looks like. I use, if anyone wants to know, diamond fiber from Magic Gel. And these are the forms that came with the Ultimate Starter Kit. So when you take off the nail form, you don't want to take it off from back here first, because you never want to risk breaking the corner point of your extensions, which are right over here. So what you do is you're going to release the form on the sides. Just gently push it in if it wants to release. I did such a good job. There you go. See how it's releasing? You do that on both sides. Once it releases, then it just will come out and you pull down this way. And then there you go. That's how you properly take off a nail form. Now all I have to do is just file.